You're listening to We're Talking Sports with Ben Burns and Richie Donnell. Remember to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now, without further ado, Ben Burns and Richie Donnell. All right, everybody, welcome to We're Talking Sports. Richie, how are you doing?
Pretty good. Enjoying this weather, actually.
Yes, it's very nice.
Yeah. And it's supposed to start. We're supposed to get rain today.
Okay.
So it may not last very much longer, but
we don't want it too dry. That's
right.
the thing.
Right.
And we also don't want our shows very dry.
Right.
So we have a really cool announcement to talk about. It's a big day for us.
It is, yeah.
Because today we are launching our website.
Yep.
And the website is called mysportsstop.com. And
Yep.
mysports, one word.
Yep.
Stop.com.
Yep. We'll post it on the social media sites.
Yes. Yeah, I'm really excited for it.
Yep.
We already got some really good articles up there.
Yep.
Hopefully we'll be getting more. Hopefully articles daily. That's the goal.
Yeah. Yeah, I know we're working on some good stuff. We got an NFL article up on
NFL
you
article.
talking about the Raiders moving.
Yep.
I read your article on Frank Vogel.
Moving to Orlando.
We have some pro wrestling stuff up already.
Yeah, WWE.
We have college football, college basketball, and we have a baseball article in the works right now.
In the works. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah. Wide variety of stuff.
It looks very nice.
We are looking for a hockey guy. So if you're a big hockey person.
If you're into hockey, if you're into golf, if you're into anything, let us know. You can write for us and with us. We can be a team. Join the My Sports team.
Absolutely.
What was I gonna say? There was a guy in the window. I'm sorry. We've had this problem.
Yes.
We're back in a CZ Hall.
Yeah.
Where the old ladies.
Decided they wanted to come to the party.
Yeah, I'm getting flashbacks.
Yeah.
So.
They have any PTSD, right?
Yeah. But another thing I wanted to say, you can find the podcast on the website. So make it a lot easier. Maybe you found this podcast on the website. If so, that's awesome. But yeah, mysportsstop.com. If you're not on it right now, which you probably are, go on it.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy it.
Yeah.
What I am enjoying also is the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yes. Yeah, me personally, I'm enjoying the Western Conference a little more just because OKC is winning. But this Eastern Conference Finals,
I'm loving the Eastern Conference Finals.
Is I don't know what to think of it. The series is 2-2 now.
Yep.
As of last night.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that I'm finding hard is just how bad the referees really are.
Okay.
In the NBA. Like, I don't know if this is something that
they're very bad.
Have not noticed in the past or just neglected to see how bad they are. But this series, to me, it has stuck out like a sore thumb in terms of the calls.
Sure.
Some of the calls that have been made. Last night, I was flipping between Monday Night Raw and the game, and I flip back and I just see Biyombo stuff LeBron at the rim, and they called a foul. And then the game before, in Game 3, there was one where LeBron went up, and don't get me wrong, hey, I'm a LeBron fan. I love LeBron. I am on Team LeBron here.
Team LeBron.
But he goes up, and he puts his elbow in Biyombo's neck. Biyombo still gets the block, goes straight up, gets the block, it's clean, and they call a foul on Biyombo. There's so many, and like there's the guys are taking 4 or 5 steps, and there's no travel, It just, for whatever reason, this series has stuck out to me more so of the bad referees.
And you go back to the first one you were talking about with the Biombo block. They had like a still of the picture. I mean, it is as clean as you can get.
Right. I mean, what else do you want the guy to do?
Straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and of course, Game 3. You talk about the LeBron flop. Tristan Thompson swinging his elbows, hits LeBron.
Yes, and
LeBron, I mean, LeBron puts on, Leonardo DiCaprio performance.
Yeah.
And
now
the Raptors get called.
Now, you're talking about like the Leonardo DiCaprio, with LeBron here. An interesting thing that I did here. I'm usually not a fan of Jeff Van Gundy,
sure,
who is a commentator for NBA basketball.
Sure.
Some of the things that he says are just, why are you on TV? I mean, that's just how he comes across sometimes.
Right.
But one thing that he had said that really did stick out to me that I kind of believe is, it's not necessarily, as much as LeBron's fault as it is for flopping, it's also a fault of the league. Because LeBron is, in reality, 6'9", 250 pounds, we'll say.
He's a big guy.
So he, when we look at LeBron, we're like, dude, you're a monster. You should be able to take those fouls and no problem.
Absolutely.
But if LeBron wasn't to flop or act like, oh, I got super foul, and act like he got hit extremely hard when maybe he just got bumped, he might not get those calls because he is so big and so strong.
That is true.
So as much as it is a fault of LeBron or any player in the league who may get fined for flopping, the league needs to figure something out with this whole scenario. Maybe they need to bring hand checking back and allow guys to be able to touch one another and it not be a foul. I mean, is there any other solution to that?
I mean, and like you said, that's tough because it's almost it's the culture of the NBA now,
right?
Where if you need to if you want to draw the foul, you have to really act like you got fouled.
Well, no, and going back to what was it in Game 3? Also, Biombo got that flagrant one. When I think it was he went to grab LeBron so LeBron didn't fall on a layup, and he got him around the back, up around the shoulders, not necessarily in the head, but around the shoulders, and he kind of just let him go, and LeBron fell, and they called the flagrant one, saying that his hand was around the neck and head area. They're almost making basketball a non-contact sport,
right?
Which is, I mean, we might as well go back to watching the And One mixtapes if we want,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally agree, and it's similar to soccer, where guys, roll on the ground after they're flicked in the ear or something.
Right.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's almost petty.
Yeah, right.
To a point.
It's getting really bad. But if Toronto somehow wins this series, DeMar DeRozan to me is the MVP of this series.
Okay.
He's had back-to-back nights where he scored over 32 points, and he had 18 and 17 in the first two games. He is playing lights out, and people made the assumption that he was losing money because of his struggles so far in these playoffs.
Right.
But the way that he's playing against Cleveland, maybe it's because their shooting guard defense is so bad.
Sure.
That's what it is. But another guy that earned himself a ton of money is Bismack Biyombo.
Oh, yeah.
This guy
is... And he's in his contract year, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
And this guy is playing lights out. And I mean, everybody's talking about, Hassan Whiteside's going to get this max contract, and Kevin Durant's the guy that everybody was going to go after. This guy is going to get paid.
He's going to get paid big time.
And
he earned every single dollar of that.
He did. And I mean, think about if he was still on the Charlotte Hornets right now.
Right.
I mean, would they have... Maybe got out of the first round, or would they still be playing right now? Who knows? But
I mean, and maybe they could have traded Al Jefferson, got some more pieces.
Right. But this kid is playing lights out right now, and he's, but since this is your favorite series, I mean, what did you think about the way that Cleveland finished last night? I mean, they were down 18, they came back, but ultimately the final 3 minutes or whatever it was. LeBron disappeared. Kevin Love was 1 for 7 in contested shots. I mean, the momentum has swung, but now we're going back to Cleveland.
Right.
Is Cleveland in trouble?
I don't think they're in trouble. I think either, in my opinion, either Cleveland's going to win this in 6 or it's going to go to a game 7. Because I mean, just with the roster they have, you can't deny how good the Cavs have been in the playoffs.
Right.
And with a guy like LeBron, and I do think that the Cavaliers do have a good sense of teamwork and almost togetherness. They're gonna come together after this horrible couple days in Toronto, and they will win Game 5.
And it's kind of funny because so far there's been this curse of Drake, and everywhere that Drake has been a bandwagon fan has lost. Kentucky, then he was supposedly dating Serena Williams, who lost some huge tennis tournament, and just wherever he has gone, it's that curse.
Okay.
But as we all know, he's an ambassador for the Raptors.
Right, and he's from Toronto.
If Toronto wins this series, I mean, can you imagine all of the Drake that we're going to be seeing?
They're going to be the Toronto Drakes.
Can you imagine Steph Curry and Drake on the sides of the courts? Because it's just going to be a battle of the light skins. I mean, it really is.
Okay. Bring it there. Okay, I didn't.
I mean, those two guys.
I guarantee nobody else was thinking about that.
Those two guys on television is just going to be, it's going to be awful. And then throw Steph Curry's daughter into the picture.
Oh God!
That's where I'm headed. It's gonna be terrible.
Can we please stop with Steph Curry's daughter?
Yes.
I get she's a little kid, she's adorable, that's great. But we don't need, in the press conference, I feel like all the media guys are there because of her, almost, and it's it's pointless.
It is, and I mean,
we don't need to be flaunting our kids.
Right.
This is their job.
And what was it? A couple years ago, they had the Bulls, I believe, made a T-shirt when they had, what was it? Derrick Rose's kid made some angry face on live television, sitting in his lap.
I think that was Chris Paul's kid.
Chris Paul's kid, okay. Because there's been a couple of kids.
Well, yeah, and then Chris Paul, his kid was on all the commercials with them on State Farm. No, we don't need that.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I mean, they're adorable and everything.
I think people need to take an example from LeBron here, because we don't. I don't know what LeBron's kids look like.
Oh,
he kind of keeps them on.
If you haven't, I do want to say though.
Okay.
Because I do follow LeBron in a lot of sporting sites on Facebook.
Sure.
I believe it's his oldest son, LeBron Jr.
Yes.
is a phenomenal basketball player.
I've seen that, but that's not.
That's all I've seen.
And that's not flaunting him. I've seen a commercial of LeBron for Samsung and stuff, and it showed a shot of his kids
with the Buick in the car.
Yeah,
or whatever.
That's fine.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But don't bring your kids to the press conference and have them grabbing the mic and.
Right. Right.
And
another one is, especially we talk about how Tom Brady's married to Giselle, and there's been times where she's said things on Twitter or whatnot.
Okay.
But otherwise you never see her. Same thing with Dwayne Wade, who's married to Gabrielle Union. You don't see them because it's about the game of basketball.
Right.
And yet every single time there's a Golden State game, all we hear about is Steph's wife, Steph's pops, brother, mom are in the stands, and of course the daughter.
Yep.
It gets old. It gets old. But speaking of Golden State, Draymond Green was fined and not suspended.
Not suspended.
It's hard to tell what it looked I don't want to say it looked intentional. It looked bad. Let's just say that it did look bad.
It looked very bad.
And this is the second time in the series that he has hit him in that area.
Yeah.
How? If it's a third time, then something needs to be done.
Yeah, I looked at this, I didn't even look at the previous ones. I looked at this one a lot, and I watched it several times.
Yeah.
And just the more I saw it, the more I thought it was intentional.
Okay.
Because obviously, he was, going up to kind of take a shot and stuff. And we've seen that a lot from a lot of players. But I feel like that last kick
was unnecessary.
Very, that wasn't part of the shot.
Right.
Almost.
Right. When I saw it, I did not see it live. I caught the replay of it. But when they do show the replay, I see the foul, and the ball kind of leaves his hand, and he's still kind of flailing in the air. Mm-hmm. And after he gets done flailing and the ball is already gone, he makes this leap.
Yep.
And just kind of kicks him, and that's what to me makes it. I've never been a fan of Draymond Green to begin with, just because of the incident that happened with the Bucks. Milwaukee obviously was the first team to beat Golden State.
Yes.
And a couple days later, Milwaukee went to Golden State and almost beat them again at their place. But after the game was over, OJ Mayo went up to Draymond Green and just kind of gave him a pat on the back of the head. Said good game, and Draymond Green flipped out, and both teams rushed the tunnel and had to separate themselves.
Yeah.
To me, he is just one of those guys, like a Bruce Bowen, who just pushes everybody's buttons. Bruce Bowen has been said to be the dirtiest player to ever play in the NBA. Draymond Green might be headed down that path, to me.
Okay.
I don't know how you feel about it.
I agree with you. I think the way we've seen him this series, and in Oklahoma City has their own set of characters. Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, and Deion Waiters now.
And Shane Adams too. He's a rough player.
Yeah.
But I think when you with a Big Ten series like this, and especially when Golden State came out losing game 1, there's a lot of tension there.
Yeah.
And kind of your true self comes out at that point. And I think we're seeing this from Draymond.
I completely agree. Like you said, they lost game 1. So OKC is up 2-1 right now. This will be game 4 in OKC.
Uh-huh.
And OKC seems to have like this very I was talking to Chuck about this. It's almost like a college atmosphere.
Sure.
Because the Thunder are the only professional team in the state of Oklahoma.
Yes.
So everybody seems to rally around the Thunder, and it's a very loud, boisterous, just energetic and passionate fan base. Will OKC go up 3-1 tonight?
Man, I don't think so.
Okay.
I think Golden State's too good to go down 3-1.
Is it going to be a repeat of like what happened with Game 2, where Oklahoma City won Game 1 and Game 2 Golden State just thrashed
I don't
them?
think it's going to be, just a dominating game, but
Okay.
I think it'll be a close one, but I do think Golden State will even the series.
Okay. You brought up Russell Westbrook, and you talked about how people kind of come out of their shell and they be themselves in pressure situations. Russell Westbrook is playing out of his mind, and he is a very physical, high-energy player. Do you ever see, and it's him, he just seems to play angry. If he were to leave OKC when this free agency thing starts, for him it's next year, Durant is this year. If one of them were to leave, do you think Westbrook could be a guy, because of the way that he plays, if he were to be by himself, that could lead a team to an NBA championship or a finals?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I think he's definitely at at that level. I think he's one of the top 5 players in the NBA, along with Westbrook.
Yeah.
I think if Durant left, I think the Thunder would still be a top 4 seed in the West. And wherever Durant goes. I mean, if it's the Lakers, maybe it takes a little bit more time, but I mean, if they go anywhere else, a playoff caliber team, I think they definitely have a shot to.
Okay. Interesting thing about Westbrook, as everybody knows, we're doing like our all-time greatest NFL players and things like that, and I was looking at NBA players, and I was looking up LeBron, and obviously LeBron is known for his triple doubles. This season alone, Russell Westbrook had 18 triple doubles this season. I mean that is just
that's amazing.
Is unheard of. Interesting fact that you had brought up before we even started here. Green Bay trying to get an NFL draft.
Yep.
If that were to happen, that would be interesting, especially with this new entertainment.
That'd be great.
Facility that they're trying to build.
Yep.
Obviously the one thing that has to worry about is we're still getting snow a couple weeks ago. So that's the one thing that has to be worried about. But we had talked about every year, the draft being in a city or in a different location in relation to an NFL team.
Yeah.
Is that something that instead of having this bidding process of, New York held it for so long, and now Chicago's had the last 2 years, and now they're talking about moving it to LA.
Yeah.
Should they just move it every single year to new city?
I think that would be good. I think that would be a good idea. Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, I think every team should have a chance to host a draft, and especially because the fans.
Right.
You know, it seemed like, when it was New York, we only saw mostly just Jets and Giants fans. Right. And now in Chicago, it's been Bears fans and a little bit of Packers fans too. But I think every team should be able to experience that.
Yeah, I agree. And like you said, it's, I mean, as much as it's all about money for the leagues.
Yeah.
But this is a good way to bring new revenue or more revenue to the league, because you're going, from like Chicago, then let's say, okay, since we're in Chicago, let's just move to Green Bay, then go to Minneapolis, then, go down the Mississippi River, or however they decide to do it, and just work their way across the country, because then, even if, like you said, with Chicago, Green Bay fans would go to Chicago, and you could probably get people from Minneapolis,
or Indianapolis.
Yeah, or Indianapolis, and St. Louis, that are all reasonable.
Well, not St. Louis
well,
anymore.
not anymore, but maybe fans that are still fans of the Rams, even though they might have moved. But you have that opportunity to bring in so much more for people. It almost seems logical.
Sure.
In that sense. Mason, you want to elaborate on Mason Crosby?
Yes. So Mason Crosby was on Green and Gold today, one of my favorite shows, hosted by Jason Wilde, and kind of talking about kickoffs. And we've seen, especially with the new kickoff rule moving it up 5 yards, we're seeing so many touchbacks.
Right.
And that's mostly a safety issue. So Mason Crosby suggested, almost more in a jokingly manner, he's like, hey, why not just do onside kicks every time?
Right.
It's actually not a bad idea.
It's not. But one of the things that I said immediately was the short field.
Sure.
And then you came back with Carolina and Seattle. I think in a situation where if it was Carolina or Seattle, you would be able to trust that. But let's say as a Packer fan, with the way that the defense has been over the last couple of years, would you trust McCarthy to have Crosby onside kick it every single time?
I think it's not just an issue of just onside kicking it every time. It's also has to do with the other special teams contributors. Right. Because if you're going to be onside kicking it every time, you better be practicing that, 300 times more than you're doing it right now.
Exactly.
Because not only that, because other teams will be expecting it now.
Right.
So it's an interesting concept, and like you said, if they fail, which they probably will about half the time,
right?
You need a really good defense stop, because they're 5 yards away from being in field goal range.
Right. And to go off of the idea of going for an onside kick every time, do you think also going forward now with the 33-yard extra point, are we going to be seeing more teams now that there's actually tape on it and some film and a full season with that rule, more teams go for 2-point conversions?
I think there will be a lot of different experiments. I think they're going to be more free, not too nervous to do it.
Right.
I still think, if it's the first score of the game, I think it'll be an extra point, but still they're going to be a lot more loose with it.
Yeah, I agree. I think if we see some closer games, like maybe, let's just say Green Bay, Chicago, for the sake of where we are. If it's, Green Bay scores and they go up, they decide to kick, and they're up 7-0, Chicago might score and John Fox might say, hey, let's go for two. I think you're going to be more likely to see scenarios like that.
Another thing, going back to good defense, if you're playing a team like the Carolina Panthers and you don't think you're going to score a lot, why not just go for two? Exactly,
because some of those games might be a little bit more.
Like if it's Jaguars versus Panthers, and if the Jaguars score a touchdown,
they might just go for two.
That might be the only time they reach the end zone. So why not just go for two?
Absolutely. This morning, there was an interesting story that came out. So UCLA signed a 15-year, $280 million deal with Under Armour.
Okay.
Now we have heard, we have not been given the figures, but there have been those that have said that LeBron's deal with Nike is $1 billion or more than $1 billion.
Yes.
when does too much become too much with this idea? You know, I mean, Nike's competing with Under Armour, and I mean, there's Adidas, but really the two titans right now are fighting for everything, Nike and Under Armour.
Right.
Is there ever too much? Does it ever become bigger, than what it should be?
Well, I mean, it just shows that these two companies are making a ton of money right now,
Right.
and I'm sure they have a ton of accountants and financial consultants that crunch all these numbers and say, hey, if we give LeBron $1 billion, we're still making money.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I think it just all comes down to these two organizations. If we keep buying, Nike stuff, you're wearing an Under Armour shirt right now.
Yeah.
So it just shows that they have a great company, and I'm wearing Nike shorts.
Yep. And I got Nike sandals.
Yeah. I mean, Nike shoes, Nike or Under Armour, everything.
Right.
Or Adidas. It just shows that, as long as we keep buying their stuff,
Right.
these deals are going to keep happening.
So let me ask you this. Kind of like, I guess when we really look back at it, I mean, MJ was kind of the first guy that really propelled it to the next level.
Right.
When he signed with Nike, got his own shoe, and
Basically
then
became a part owner
Right.
with Air Jordan.
right, and then now he owns the Hornets, and we've seen this situation where Nike did have Steph Curry, or they were proposing an idea to him, and they said his name wrong, and they just this whole situation was bad, and then he signs this lucrative deal with Under Armour. Is there ever a point, like I said, with LeBron signing a $1 billion deal, where this now LeBron almost becomes bigger than the game of basketball, if he is already not? You know what I mean?
That's
where
very true,
basketball
yeah.
does not matter anymore, because Ben Simmons came out and made a statement where somebody had asked him where he would like to get drafted, and he's potentially or more than likely going to Philadelphia.
Yes.
And his comment was, "I'd like to be drafted by the Lakers because I'm going to get a bigger shoe deal."
Right.
Is it almost where it's more about the sponsorships than it is the actual game?
It's these personalities, and it's not only in sports, and it's in pop culture.
Right.
Drake and Kanye West.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people maybe know about them, but they can't name 5 songs for
Right,
each of them.
right.
And it's the same thing with sports. Michael Jordan is the perfect example. Everybody knows Michael Jordan. Go back to football, Peyton Manning, Brett Favre.
Right.
These are recognizable people. LeBron James is the same way now, and it's starting to happen with Steph Curry, too.
Yeah.
So, to answer your question, yeah, this is bigger than the game.
Yeah, right. I agree with you. It's just insane when you see these amounts of money being thrown around. So we're talking about bigger than the game, or maybe even being outside the game. You had asked me a question: if I had an entourage,
Yes,
of football players surrounding me, who would I have? I do have my 5.
you have your 5.
I have my 5.
All right.
It's interesting as to how I picked this 5 because I don't think any two of these guys are the same, or that it's a personality fit, but that this group kind of circles the wagon of all over the place.
Okay, who's your 5?
So the first person that I came up with is solely because I'm a big fan of him, and I feel like he would have the Napoleon concept because he's a little guy, but he plays in a very big way.
All right.
That is Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown.
I feel like I'm a little guy. So I feel like we would have some.
And you could learn some dance move from him.
Absolutely, and he's a small school guy, Central Michigan.
Sure.
So I
Probably
feel like
very down to earth. I mean, and he has some very interesting hairstyles
Yeah.
and dressing.
I was gonna go with Beckham, but then I was like, Beckham and Antonio Brown might be a little too much for me to handle. The next one, and I had asked you, what is the scenario that I'm picking these people in? Somebody that you would go out with. Somebody that doesn't
not go out to party.
Right. Well, because I was gonna say this person
Or hang out.
My second person does not drink at all.
Oh.
So it was a scenario where it's like you can go out with this person and you don't need to necessarily go to a club or get drunk or drink alcohol. That's Cam Newton.
Cam Newton.
I just feel like Cam Newton. He has a very, very outgoing personality, and he is a little bit arrogant, but you need that sometimes. And in every group of friends, I mean, when you're a well-rounded group, you have that person who always is like tries to one-up everybody. You laugh because you and Chuck always get on me about that. So I feel like it would be a good fit there.
If I met Cam Newton, I would quote Tony Stark and say, "Sometimes I want to punch you in your perfect teeth."
My third selection here would be somebody that I can relate to more than just the love of football, and that's DeAndre Levy. He's a Milwaukee native, and having grown up here, I just feel like we could have conversations that didn't involve just football.
Sure.
That we could talk about his life experiences and when he went through growing up in Milwaukee, and just talk about Wisconsin and the area. And just enjoy where we're from. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If you need to, put something away for a while, or if you have a pack of gum and you don't have pockets, you can just put it right in his beard.
Yeah, that too. That massive beard. The fourth person is from 20 minutes from here, but he is also a guy that I think would be a blast to hang out with. That's J.J. Watt.
J.J. Watt. Why would you not want to hang out with
him?
him?
I just feel like he would be just a good person to hang out with because he's so intense about it. You know what I mean? There's so much energy there. And speaking of energy, this fifth guy, I mean, this is every group of friends has that one guy who always pushes it to that too far.
Okay.
And you got to bring him back. And our guy is Rob Gronkowski.
All right.
Gronk. There's a tag team in WWE NXT right now called the Hype Bros. The one guy's name is Mojo Rawley. He played in the NFL for a little bit.
Okay.
Even for the Green Bay Packers.
What's his name?
His real name I would have to look up, but his wrestling name is Mojo Rawley.
I'm looking him up.
And he's in a tag team with Zack Ryder, and they're called the Hype Bros. So when he's in the ring, he points at his opponent and he goes, "You ain't hyped," and then the crowd goes, "You ain't hyped," and after the season was over, WWE brought Rob Gronkowski down to Full Sail University where they have their NXT developmental league, and Gronkowski gets in with Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder, and they start mosh pitting in the crowd, and it just seems like I would like to do that.
I've never heard of this guy.
Yeah, I think he went to
Dean Mutati.
I think he went to Maryland, maybe. I believe.
Yes, he went to Maryland.
Yep.
All right. So my list. I'll name the guy. I have two guys on the same list as you do in my entourage. The first guy, kind of said, why not hang out with him? J.J. Watt. He's a great guy.
Yep.
I feel like he'd be a good leader of the group. He's friends with everybody. He's so nice.
Yep.
And it's just like, hey, he kind of seems like the guy, hey, why don't we just go out and play some softball?
Right.
Yeah, let's,
Yep.
He's a fun guy. He keeps everyone up. Other guy, yeah, you need a party animal. Rob Gronkowski. Yeah. Come on. I would love to hang out with Gronk for a night.
Yes.
And
not black out.
And not black out.
Yes, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, and he seems like a guy also, where if things aren't going well, he just gets up and starts partying. When they lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He was hanging out and,
and
enraged after losing.
Interesting story that I've heard about Rob Gronkowski is despite all the things that he does, it must be paid for because apparently he has not touched any money that he has earned in the NFL.
That's interesting.
So a lot of this must just be like, hey, let's get Rob Gronkowski because then people are going to be interested.
Sure.
And use him as in that point. But apparently, if he wanted to quit the NFL right now, he'd be set for life because he does not spend a lot of money.
I mean, it seems like he's in a good family too.
Yes.
Kind of like the Watt family.
Right.
Good parents.
Yep. Absolutely.
So another guy, this guy, I feel like would go up and beat up anybody for me. If anybody was sizing me up, this guy would go right in front for me. That's Steve Smith.
Okay.
I want Steve Smith in my group.
Okay.
Because he's a tough
he's
little
enforcer.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like nobody's gonna mess with Steve.
I was trying to think of somebody like that, and the only name that kept popping in my head was Ndamukong Suh.
But
I was like, I don't know that he's necessarily
a
fun guy.
No.
He's just kind of.
I feel
he's like a bouncer.
Right.
You know,
I feel like you would get a couple trips to jail.
Yeah,
You know,
most definitely.
spend a couple nights there.
Yeah.
Another guy, maybe an interesting choice. I have Josh Norman on here. I think Josh Norman, you know, I've listened to him in interviews and stuff and press conferences. Seems like a very relaxed guy.
Yeah.
A very smart guy, too. And it seems like he's very level-headed. I don't know what happened with him leaving Carolina or something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's something in his, you know, we don't know about. But to me, I'd want him in the group. And you're going to be surprised at this one. But I want a guy who is going to be smarter than anyone else.
Okay.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Oh, okay.
Is going to be in my group.
Okay.
He kind of looks like a fun guy too.
Yeah.
How can you not be fun with a big beard? You know, kind of like DeAndre Levy.
Yeah.
You know, seems like an awesome guy. You know, I mean, if you're going out and you eat at an Applebee's and you don't know how much to tip, he can tell you how much 25% is.
I was thinking something like that when you brought up Fitzpatrick. Mine was a little bit more vulgar, but I see Ryan Fitzpatrick as that guy who gets completely annihilated and then starts writing quantum physics on the wall.
That would be entertaining. I would love that.
That is exactly how I see
him and Gronk together. Are you kidding me?
That is exactly how I see Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
And as I was thinking about this, I thought about, well, who can also give me something? If I had to pick a sixth guy, this might be a little bit of a shocker, but it's because of who his girlfriend is and the fact that she can then hook the group up with attractive ladies in her profession.
All right.
And that's Aaron Rodgers. Because Olivia Munn is absolutely gorgeous. But depending on who her group of friends are, there's one for one, and you just work your way down, and everybody gets one for one with beautiful actresses on the arm.
I mean, I thought about Aaron Rodgers for a while. I mean,
and he's a California kid. California people know how to have fun.
Right. And I mean, I would love to hang out with Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, more because I'm a Packer fan.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like he's maybe a little different under social situations.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
I listen to his radio show a lot, and he seems to be a lot more of an introvert than an extrovert.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel like all these guys, maybe with the exception of Fitzpatrick, are extroverts.
Yeah. And as you were saying that, watching his commercials, another guy that I think would be a blast to hang out with, maybe as kind of as that father figure, telling everybody to chill out and. He's the guy who cuts everybody off. Would be Donald Driver. Watching that
Donald Driver.
Watching the Click It or Ticket commercials.
I would love.
He gets so excited about telling
Click
somebody,
It or Ticket.
Yeah,
I love that.
That somebody gets so excited about
on a local. It's a local commercial too.
Yeah, and he seems like a nice guy to sit down and hang out with.
Yeah, I mean, and then we are talking about active guys though.
Yes.
Another guy I think would maybe be kind of like Fitzpatrick. Maybe it would be a lot better than it sounds. Eli Manning.
Okay.
I think Eli Manning could be actually. He's getting up there in age now, but he's a bit of a family man. But I think he would be a really fun guy to party with.
Okay.
And I don't know if you watch Saturday Night Live, but he hosted.
Yeah, I've heard he was really funny.
And he is hilarious.
That's what I've heard.
And obviously everybody thinks about his brother when they think about comedy and stuff. But Eli Manning I think he's got a personality.
Okay.
So I would love to hang out with Eli.
Yeah.
Any other guys you can think of?
Off the top of my head. Not that I can.
I mean, you could pretty much name any wide receiver in the past 10 years.
Yeah, because they're all divas. So
I mean, T.O.,
I had thought about Brandon Marshall.
Sure,
but he's a little more on the intense side.
Sure, yeah.
Versus the just going out and having fun.
What the 5 guys you wouldn't want to hang out with? Ndamukong Suh.
Yep.
Richie Incognito.
Yeah. Hey. Despite the fact that he's on my team. I feel like Jay Cutler would be an absolute Debbie Downer. I would not. I do not think I could hang out with Jay Cutler.
Johnny Manziel.
Yeah,
you're definitely going to jail that night.
Yeah,
Ray McDonald.
Johnny Manziel. No, you're not going to jail with Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel is getting you put in prison. Like,
you are gonna get an assault charge
or something. You're gonna, it is not good. Talking about NFL players.
Okay.
We are going to continue our list
today.
Alrighty.
So we did top 10 quarterbacks a while ago.
Yes.
We're
slowly getting done.
Yep. And we did wide receivers.
Yep.
And we had a very different list. I was happy about that.
Yeah. And so today we're going to do tight ends.
Yes.
But I do want to say this before we go into our list. I have a feeling that our lists are going to be very different.
Okay. Interesting.
But I do want to say that a lot of my list, I have not seen these guys play.
Okay.
And that was the hardest thing for me. It's hard for me to judge somebody that I can't watch.
I mean, obviously neither have I.
Right. And with highlight tapes, obviously they're going to show all the good and not necessarily, the bad. Like a Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham is a great receiver, but he's not going to block anybody. You know what I mean?
Right. And the tight end, I think, more than any position has changed the most in the past 10 years.
Right. Absolutely. So those that are listening, if you disagree with me, I deeply apologize, or if I miss somebody, I am sorry. But again, like I said,
that's why we have the honorable mention.
Yeah, there are a lot of guys that I have missed, or probably have missed, just because I haven't seen them play.
All right, you start us up, number 10.
Yep, number 10, I'm going with the man who is the name of the trophy for the best tight end in the college football game.
Okay.
And that is John Mackey, who played for the Baltimore Colts. And San Diego Chargers. He was kind of like, I guess, the first receiving tight end, you could say.
Yeah.
Maybe, had over 5,000 career receiving yards. Not as many touchdowns as what we are used to seeing today, but he almost got to 40 touchdowns. Pro Bowl, All-Pro, All-Decade. But as I said in other shows, what really sticks out to me, especially with players that I haven't seen, are the anniversary teams. Because if you can go from 25 to 50, that's 25 years of guys who competed, and you're still listed as better than those other guys that came out in that period. Says a lot to me about the type of player you were.
Right. All right, number 10, I'm going with the ghost in the post, Dave Casper.
Okay.
If you by the way, one of the first article I wrote on mysportstop.com was about the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about the Raiders of the 70s.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite teams of all time.
Okay.
Because you have some of these tough guys, Atkinson.
Yep.
The Jake the Snake. Wait, was his name Jake the Snake? Who am I thinking? Ken Stabler.
Oh.
Jake the Snake is from WWF.
Yes.
But Dave Casper was another guy that was just so tough and just had that personality of the Raiders. The famous ghost in the post.
Yep.
Was one of the more clutch tight ends in NFL history.
Yeah.
And I believe he's in the Hall of Fame. There are not many tight ends in the Hall of Fame, by the way.
He is in the Hall of Fame.
And so that's my number 10, Dave Casper.
Okay. My number 9 is also in the Hall of Fame. He is obviously not an active player, but he is active in the NFL as he is a general manager of the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
And that's Ozzie Newsome.
The
The only thing that I could really find that hurt Ozzie was that he didn't win a championship. I mean, that was really the only thing that he's missing in his career. But other than that, I mean, he was the epitome. He continued the revolution of receiving tight ends, and played for one team in his career. Bless his soul, the Cleveland Browns.
Right, that's a bummer.
Yes,
and not the good Cleveland Browns, not the Jim Brown Cleveland Browns.
Right.
Or any Brown, the Cleveland Browns. They have Sashi Brown. They could turn it around now.
We'll see.
They do pretty good when somebody in charge is named Brown.
Yeah,
Paul Brown, and they Jim Brown.
They do pretty good when they're not playing either. So I mean, like, they win in the off season because football hasn't actually happened.
Right. I don't know. Sashi Brown. That's
all right.
Keep an eye on him. Number 9 is a Hall of Famer.
Okay.
Recent Hall of Famer.
Okay.
Shannon Sharp.
Yep.
Shannon Sharp was, unlike Ozzie Newsome, played for multiple teams and won with multiple teams.
Yes.
I mean, obviously, we know him more for the Denver Broncos.
Yep.
Debatable whether or not he was John Elway's favorite receiver, because
Right.
he did add Ed McCaffrey
Yep.
and Rod Smith for a little bit. But Shannon Sharp was a great personality.
Right.
Maybe not on TV. Kind of debatable, but I really respect him for that surge he had with the Baltimore Ravens. Ended his career in a great way.
Yeah, and they won the Super Bowl.
They won the Super Bowl, and had a lot of, another guy that ended his career well, or not ended his career with the team, but Rod Woodson.
Yeah.
Another older guy, but yeah, Shannon Sharp is a guy I really like. And also, he was kind of one of the people that kind of started with the receiving tight end. You talk about Mackey, but Shannon Sharp kind of took it to the next level.
Right. My number 8, you've already said everything that you could to say. I have Dave Casper
The ghost
as,
of the
as,
post.
as my number 8 tight end. There's nothing I can say that you haven't already said.
Sure. All right. Number 8 is another guy you just talked about, not Dave Casper. He's so good. I put him on here twice.
Put him on there twice.
No, I have Ozzie Newsome.
Okay.
Yeah, Ozzie Newsome. You kind of talked about it again with Mackey, but earlier there were not many good receiving tight ends. If you caught the ball and scored touchdowns and stuff, you were good.
Yeah.
And he was good, and he also blocked and stuff. And yeah, you kind of talked about it.
Yeah. My number 7 has not yet been named, so we can get a new conversation going here. But he won his Super Bowl, or he won 3 Super Bowls, and he won a Super Bowl as a coach. And that's Mike Ditka.
Oh.
I have at number 7. He, again, as we talk about guys, as the tight end position continued to revolutionize, Ditka was before Ozzie, but he was helping with that revolutionary style of catching,
Sure.
a catching tight end, and he fit the Bears mold. I mean,
Absolutely.
really, that's we talk about Dave Casper with the Raiders. Ditka was exactly the same with the Bears. That rough style of play, but yeah, Mike Ditka, number 7.
Oh, that makes me sick. Put Mike Ditka. No, I have Mike Ditka at 7 too.
Okay.
Yeah, great guy. What I remember most about him. All right, what am I saying? Oh, I remember him back in the 60s.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, like when I go, NFL films have those great shots of Dick Butkus and Ditka and stuff, and
Ditka.
was and he really represented kind of the toughness of the Bears of the 60s,
Right.
and I think that's really cool. And and he also kind of showed that when he became a coach.
Right.
Yeah. So Mike Ditka, great football player, great coach. Not great reporter.
That's probably the reason why he's not coming back to Monday Night Football this year. Or ESPN Countdown.
He's old.
Yeah.
He's old too.
Yep.
Charles Woodson's coming in too.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
Number 6, you've already talked about.
Ooh.
I have Shannon Sharp. I have him a little bit higher than you do, for the reasons that you said, though. He was really the first tight end, at least of my lifetime that I remember, who was a true receiving tight end. To me, he was kind of the guy who changed the game for me growing up and watching the back-to-back Super Bowl wins for the Denver Broncos. Just remember him being that guy who was kind of like that check down tight end who could also, maybe run some deeper routes, but was more so a receiver than he was just a traditional pass block or a blocking tight end.
Yeah. All right. My number 6 is playing currently.
Okay.
And we kind of talking about more receivers or more tight ends, are more receiving than blocking. This guy does it both. He does it all.
Okay.
Probably the most versatile tight end on this list, and that is Jason Witten.
Okay.
Man, I really do respect Jason Witten. Okay, have you ever? This is just a question. Have you ever seen a game Have you ever been to a football game and just watch a player live and just go, wow, this guy is amazing? And you never really thought about that when you watched him on TV.
Watch him on television. Yes.
Because I just say that because, watching a player live, and, when you're there, it's just I feel like it's a lot different than watching it on TV.
Right.
To me, when I saw Jason Witten play against the Packers in the playoffs, I was amazed at how well he was.
Well, and he just broke the record for receptions by a tight end in a game, if I remember correctly. He had 20 receptions or something crazy like that recently in a single game.
Yeah, I think you're right. But, I mean, and to me, he is almost a perfectionist.
Yeah.
He is so good at running, these short slant routes.
Mm-hmm.
He and Tony Romo, it's like ESP, you know. Am I saying that right? ESP? EPS?
Where they
can
just know.
read each other's minds.
Yes,
we're going to go with that.
Yeah.
We're talking sports here. We're not talking science.
Right.
So, yeah,
wow, we just filled the stereotype of sports junkies right there.
Yeah, it's fine. Whatever. But Jason Witten, a fantastic player. I think he's going to be playing this league for a couple more years.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I mean, I don't know who you have, because we've not seen each other's list.
Right.
Is there a possibility he moves up your list? Do you think that he can get higher?
Yeah, I mean, if he plays for 5 more years and breaks some more records, for sure.
Okay. My number 5 is currently playing as well. Mine is a guy that we actually just talked about, and he will continue to climb this list, but because he's so young, I couldn't go higher than 5, and that's Rob Gronkowski.
Okay.
Rob Gronkowski, when he retires, I'm going to say this right now, will be the most dominating tight end we've ever seen in the sport of football. He might not catch Tony Gonzalez in, let's say, receptions, or maybe something like that.
Yeah.
But yards and touchdowns, Rob Gronkowski might be the best tight end that we've ever seen.
Okay.
Because that's all he does is score touchdowns. If it wasn't for injuries early in his career, he might have surpassed my number 4 already. But I love watching Rob Gronkowski play the game because he's just, same thing with what you said with Witten and Romo. Him and Brady are just magic together.
Yeah,
it's phenomenal to watch those two go at it together.
Right. My number 5 is Kellen Winslow Sr.
Okay.
I want to
Not
make that
Junior?
clear. I want to make
Are
this
you
clear.
sure?
Are
you sure you're taking Senior and not Junior?
He's a little higher on the list.
Junior's
a little higher on the list.
Okay.
Senior is at 5.
Okay.
Man, and to me, okay, when we keep talking about just the revolutionizing tight end to becoming, blocking to receiving.
Right.
In Don Coryell's offense, his, pass first offense with Dan Fouts and all the different guys that I can't name right now because I'm blanking. Kellen Winslow was a receiving tight end, and that game against the Dolphins, was it a playoff game? I can't remember, but the one he just went off.
Well, yeah,
kept scoring touchdowns, and basically had to be carried off the field at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, and they were playing in Miami Heat, so it's maybe it was a little overdramatic.
No pun intended on that Miami Heat.
That's why they call him the Miami Heat.
I know.
But Kellen Winslow, a lot of people do consider him the best tight end of all time.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, same.
Still, he's number 5.
Yeah, my number 4 is Kellen Winslow Sr.
Not Junior?
Not Junior. Like I said, I expect Gronkowski to surpass him at some point. But
okay.
Yeah, I remember, like you mentioned with the NFL films, just watching highlights of Kellen Winslow. He was really the first tight end that I saw film of from that day or that era of just somebody who was big, or I should say bigger than everybody else and more athletic than everybody else.
Yeah.
For guys that were expected to, cover him or have to stop him, he was really that first guy that said, I'm going to be bigger than you, I'm going to play bigger than you, and I'm going to outrun you or run you over. Just similar to what we see in Gronkowski.
Right.
But yeah, Kellen Winslow was a phenomenal receiving tight end.
Yeah. My number 4 was your number 10, John Mackey.
Okay.
Man, that Indianapolis Colts team, or Baltimore Colts team,
Yeah.
excuse me.
Yep.
That Baltimore Colts team was amazing. So many Hall of Famers on that list. And with the offense, I mean, we think about, obviously, Johnny U and Raymond Berry. Those two guys connected so well. John Mackey was kind of the unsung hero there.
Yeah.
And you said, he was kind of the first receiving tight end. That's true. But he was also a damn good blocker.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he's so high on my list. Pretty much the definition of a gridiron kind of football player.
Right.
And he's number 4.
Yeah.
For me.
I can officially go out and say that we do not have the top 3 that are the same. We do not have the same top
Correct.
3. I have a feeling your number 3, or one person in your top 3 that wasn't in mine was Gronkowski. I just have a feeling. I'm not going to say that it is. But my top 3 are all... Oh, no, I'm sorry. 2 of my top 3 are active players, as is my number 3, who I believe was your number 6, and that's Jason Witten.
Okay.
To me, Jason Witten is that guy who just goes out there and does it. He's not flashy. He doesn't necessarily, he's not like T.O., where T.O. was demanding the ball. Jason Witten just goes out there and does things the right way. He plays like a power forward would on the basketball court, and he just finds ways to make catches, to get yards, and move the chains. And that's what a traditional tight end does, and he does block when called upon. He has never complained or said that he needs the ball in his hands more like a receiving tight end might. But yeah, Jason Witten, it will be, to me, a first ballot tight end Hall of Fame.
I think we have the same 10. We have the same 10 people on our list.
Well then. Didn't that happen at the running back position or the wide receiver position as well? No, because you didn't have Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, no, and you had Isaac Bruce.
Yeah.
No, our wide receiver group was way different.
Maybe it was running backs.
You didn't even have Don Hudson.
Yeah.
No, you had Curtis Martin on your list.
That's true. Man, we haven't had the same yet. All right.
Yeah. So number 3, it is Rob Gronkowski.
So that means we have the same top 2.
We do. We always have the same top 2.
Yes, we do.
To me, just watching Rob Gronkowski, I think this is one of the guys where you look at a little kid and say, enjoy this.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we're going to see a tight end like him, or we haven't seen a tight end like him before.
Right.
And it's, to me, he is the epitome of what everybody now is looking for a tight end. This guy is just unbelievable. He is a mismatch nightmare. I know a lot of people were talking about that with Jermichael Finley, with the Packers. Rob Gronkowski takes us to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
And it's why people are drafting guys like Tyrann Mathieu. We saw Darren Lee get drafted in the draft. It's because of guys like Gronkowski.
Right.
And Darren Lee gets drafted by the Jets.
He'll be expected.
Right. And somebody, I remember somebody asked him. He's like, hey, what are you looking forward to? And he's like, oh, I'm looking forward to guarding Gronkowski.
Yeah.
Because that's what he's going to be doing. And Gronkowski has quietly kind of changed this game and changed offenses. And I do think at the end of the career he will be the number 1 tight end of all time.
Yeah, I agree. Just so people understand how good Gronkowski really is. Say Gronkowski, even if he doesn't play a full year this year, he's 20 receptions away from 400 already. So he's at 380 career receptions. This year, he'll also surpass 6,000 receiving yards already, and he's already at 65 touchdowns. So he'll surpass 400 catches, 6,000 yards, and 70 touchdowns all in this next season.
Wow.
Which is, and I don't think he's even 30 yet.
No.
Which is incredible for a player of that position to be able to do.
He's just got to stay healthy.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
That's the goal.
My number 2, I'm guessing we're going to have the same.
You can do your 2.
We're going to do the same. I'm guessing they're in the same order. If I'm wrong, please correct me here.
All right.
But my number 2 is the power forward from Kent State University, Antonio Gates. Antonio Gates is the guy who paved the way for Jimmy Graham, for Rico Gathers. These guys that are basketball players who end up making a living in the NFL started with Antonio Gates.
What about Julius Peppers?
Well, right, but Julius Peppers played the 1 year at North Carolina, but he also played football. Tony Gonzalez played both sports. Antonio Gates was only a basketball player.
Yes.
He did not play any college football. So he was transitioning from the court to the field solely just to make it at the NFL level. And I believe he will go down as the second, great. I think a lot of people will make that assumption, but receiving, receptions, receiving yards, touchdowns. I mean, the only thing he hasn't done is won a Super Bowl, and he spent his entire career with the San Diego Chargers, mainly with Phillip Rivers. But, like we said with Witten and Romo and Brady and Gronkowski, Rivers and Gates is magic.
Sure.
And then number one, I think, I don't know how you can't pick Tony Gonzalez. Just his career speaks for itself. He's number 2 all time in receptions. That's tight ends and receivers included. So for him to have not in 5th all time in yards, 6th all time in touchdowns, for somebody that plays a position that's a little bit closer, or maybe even in a 3-point stance, when he played, in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
To have those numbers and to be better than that many tight ends and receivers speaks for itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have Gates at 2 and Togo at 1. I mean, they're both just fantastic tight ends.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can't go wrong with either of them. Antonio Gates, I mean, if he retires right now, he's probably a first-year ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
He should retire right now.
Yeah.
But, why not? But, I mean, yeah, you talk about it. Probably could be the best undrafted player of all time.
Yeah.
Obviously you talk about guys like Kurt Warner and Tony Romo, John Randall. He's right there. And then Tony Gonzalez at number 1. That's an easy choice right there.
Right.
Another thing, really besides his career with Matt Ryan at the end with the Falcons, didn't have that great of quarterbacks.
Right.
He did have Trent Green. He played with Damon Heward for 1 year.
Yeah.
But
was Rich Gannon in Kansas City when he was there, or was that before?
I think that was before.
Okay, it's possible.
Gonzalez played for a long time.
Yeah.
So,
right.
But yeah, Gonzalez is number 1. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy choice. We have the same 10.
We have the same 10.
I have 3 honorable mentions.
I have 4.
Okay. Mark Bavaro.
Okay. I didn't know he's not.
You didn't really.
No.
See, he wasn't really a receiving tight end, but he was a tough guy.
Okay.
He kind of had that New York kind of toughness to him.
Yeah.
And it's and he hated the Eagles.
Okay.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
Every time he played the Eagles, he brought it.
Okay.
And I think it was one time on Monday Night Football where he had the ball and he carried like 5 Eagles on his back. And, he probably won about 5 or 10 yards with it. Look it up sometime, but it's awesome. Jackie Smith?
Nope.
Really?
I don't know
Jack Smith. I believe he is a Hall of Famer.
I believe so, too.
Had a long career with the Cardinals.
Okay.
I don't know if they were Arizona then. They might have been Phoenix, but yeah, kind of obviously not a lot of people have heard of him for playing the Cardinals. A lot of people heard of him more for being the guy in the Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl